Waiting on Frank.
Nobody wants to sit. Nobody
Here we
wants to
go.
sit.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. Can we get a roll call, please, Beth?
Select Chair, Mr. Tarosh.
Excused?
Select Vice Chair, Mr. Coy.
Here?
Selectman, Mr. Gifford.
Here.
Selectwoman, Ms. Costa. Here. Please note for the record, we have Town Manager, Mr. Colby, with us. We also have our Police Chief Santoro with us and several members of the Police Department.
All right, and Chief, can you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right. This is always a good thing to do. We start off on a good note. Chief, I guess we got two promotions?
Yes, that's
Mr.
correct.
Sergeant?
Thank you to Selectmen and the Town Manager and all the support you've given me for the past 13 months. That also goes without saying to the taxpayers as well, the businesses, the residents, and everyone who is here in the town who supports the town. In my past 13 months, we've hired several new officers and dispatchers and other positions around the department, but this is the first time of making my first two appointments as Chief of Police in the past 13 months. These first two appointments will be those of sergeants, and these are the first of what's to come. As you know, we've been backfilling positions within the department over the past year or so, and we're continuing to hire and promote to fill vacancies and voids that have been in the department for a while now.
Nice. It's always a good night. I like this.
It is a great night. It's a great night. So I want to thank the officers for coming in here today with all the co-workers, the family, friends, both civilian and sworn officers and citizens as well. They're here to wish them well as we appoint these two.
Absolutely. And we need Martha to, if you want to introduce the officers would be good.
I
too.
will. I'm going to do one at a time
Sure.
to give them their own honor and respect.
Absolutely.
The first sergeant we'll be promoting is Officer Stephen DeHulo. If he could come forward while I read a little bit of a short bio of him. And then also his whatever family member is going to be pinning him, which I'll mention in a second. Sergeant Stephen DeHulo has been a member of the Plastow Police Department since 2017. He's a former Groveland, Massachusetts police officer. During his time here with our department, he served in a patrol division and a stint in a detective unit. He's a departmental field training officer and has been trained in basic narcotics investigations. Sergeant DeHulo received a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Salem State University in Salem, Massachusetts. Sergeant DeHulo will be pinned by his girlfriend Lauren after the swearing in.
Perfect.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear. Do solemnly and sincerely swear. And affirm. That I will faithfully. That I will faithfully. That I will bear faith and true allegiance. That I will bear faith and true allegiance. To the United States of America. To the United States of America. And to the state of New Hampshire. To the state of New Hampshire. So help me. So help me. And will support the Constitution thereof. And will support the Constitution thereof. So help me God. So help me God. I state your name. I, Stephen DeHulo. Do solemnly and sincerely swear. Do solemnly and sincerely swear. And affirm. And affirm. That I will faithfully and impartially. That I will faithfully and impartially. Discharge and perform. Discharge and perform. All the duties incumbent upon me. All the duties incumbent upon me. As a full-time Plastow Police Sergeant. As a full-time Plastow Police Sergeant. For the town of Plastow. For the town of Plastow. According to the best of my abilities. According to the best of my abilities. Agreeable to the rules and regulations. Agreeable to the rules and regulations. Of this Constitution. Of this Constitution. And the laws of the state of New Hampshire. And the laws of the state of New Hampshire. So help me God. So help me God.
Lauren, you want to come up and Steve? Congratulations. I'm going to grab some photos afterwards as well. Miles, if you'd like to come up. The next officer being promoted is Miles Master-Totaro. Sergeant Master-Totaro has been a member of the Placer Police Department since 2020. Formerly, he was a police officer at both Boston University and Salem State University. During his time at the Placer Police Department, he served in a patrol division. He is a departmental field training officer and firearms instructor. He also serves as a part-time evidence technician. Sergeant Master-Totaro is a graduate of Salem State University. Actually, both of them were. That's pretty good. And received his bachelor's degree in history. Sergeant Master-Totaro will be pinned by his wife, Brooke, and son, Lorenzo.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear. And affirm. That I will bear faith and true allegiance. To the United States of America. To the state of New Hampshire. And will support the Constitution thereof. So help me God. I state your name.
I, Miles Master-Totaro,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm.
do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm
That I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform.
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
All the duties incumbent upon me.
all the duties incumbent upon me
As a full-time Placer Police Sergeant.
as a full-time Placer Police Sergeant
For the town of Placer.
for the town of Placer,
According to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities,
Agreeable to the rules and regulations.
agreeable to the rules and regulations
Of this Constitution.
of this Constitution
And the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Brooke, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Before I leave again, I want to say thank you to the select board and to the town manager and all the taxpayers in the city or the town. And we look forward to continue working well with you all and to make this a great town to live, work, and be educated.
Well, it's nice to see too, is everybody, all the other officers coming in tonight too as well.
Yes, it's a
It's nice
very
to
tight
see.
group.
It is.
Yeah.
It's good to see.
Thank you.
If you want any group pictures, let me know.
Okay, thank you. We're going to, folks can grab, it's great weather, we'll grab some photographs outside. All right.
Thank you.
again.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, you guys.
You want to do a couple
Thank you very
more?
much.
Stay. Yeah,
Just send me what you got, I'll guess in what I got.
yeah, that's fine.
Thanks again, Chief.
Thank you.
Let everyone clear the stairway.
Yeah.
Let everyone clear the stairway.
Good idea.
All right. Next up is Old Home Day. I hear that's happening soon.
Oh, I thought we'd have the schedule of events.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. What about, is it 2 weeks away? Something like that? 2, 3?
Yes, last Thursday was 3 weeks away from the first scheduled event. So Shauna Manthorn, Chair.
Erica Lemire, President of the Historical Society, Old Home Day Committee member.
So I have a schedule of events that I just want to go over and then open up the conversation for a couple of frequently asked questions. But I asked Erica to be here tonight to talk about the Historical Society
Nice.
component of the schedule. So
Good.
All right.
Go
first.
for it.
All
Yeah,
right.
go for it.
Historical Society will be open on Old Home Day. The museum will be open from 9 o'clock in the morning till right after the parade, maybe a little bit after that. So we'll have some refreshments and things down at the museum. We will also have a presence here on the town green, which is actually Pollard Square. Gonna have to get that in the vernacular,
Yeah.
bring that back. The kids in the 5th grade schooled me. So we'll have a presence here. We'll have commemorative items. We'll have raffles, and we'll be out and about meeting people. And that's pretty much what we have going on.
And you're looking for volunteers.
And we are looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers.
Always, but it's nice to see the Historical Society that's becoming more and more active. There's definitely more of a presence around town, which is great.
Trying to be, and we've actually gotten a couple of new volunteers since Election Day, so that was a great way to be visible, and it's gained some traction, so we appreciate that.
Now, don't you have something going on with passbooks?
Yes, oh, that's right, thank you. It's been a long day. So we'd also be doing a passport activity where families can come and get a little passport book, and then they can go visit all the different vendors and learn fun facts about Plasto. Each vendor they visit, they'll get a stamp, and then if they complete at least 12 pages of their passport book, they will get a free ice cream over at the church, at the ice cream social.
So the church will have the ice cream social then?
Yes.
They are
Nice.
having an ice social.
Ice cream social. It's on the schedule of
Nice.
events. So they'll be open from 12 to 2.
See, I should read.
It just got sent today. It's okay. So Thursday, June 20th is the Kids Fest, and it is at Pollard Square, Town Hall Green. Did I get it right?
Yes.
From 5 to 7 p.m. No early guests, please. We'll be setting up right up until the timeline of when the activities will begin. It is a free event for families to come and enjoy. We do require that children have supervision. This is not a drop-off birthday party event. This is a stay and enjoy with your children and supervise them event. So please come with your kiddos and plan to stay. There'll be games, crafts, music. From 5:30 to 6:30, we'll be having a magic show underneath the tent. Magic by George. We're very excited about him coming to join us this year. From 6:30 to 7 will be Candy Bar Bingo, which is hosted by Friends of Plastow Recreation. And again, all of these things are free for folks to come and enjoy. The games that are on the Town Hall Green for that particular day are sponsored and going to be run by Plastow Historical Society. And they're getting some support from the Plastow YMCA, which has been really great of them to have their support this year for Old Home Day activities. So I want to thank Barbara Gallagher for connecting with the committee to offer some support from the Y this year. She's been wonderful to work with. So thank you, Barbara. If you're out there, we appreciate you. And then at 7 p.m., right before the end of the event, we'll all gather around to sing happy birthday to the town of Plastow, because what do you do at a birthday party? You sing. And so that will be the end of the event. We will have some snacks there as well. But one really important thing that we want to share is that in conjunction with the Lions Club, we discussed how sometimes at a birthday party, people bring gifts. And so while it's not required, we would love for people to gift a non-perishable food donation item for our local food pantry so we can support our local citizens. So we will be having bins, and hopefully the Lions Club trailer will be here so that we can collect some food donations as a gift to our town. It would be really great if people could bring one of those items with them to the birthday party / Kids Fest. Then Friday, June 21st will be the Decades Dance, which is going to be at Plastow Fish and Game from 6 to 10 p.m. You do need to buy tickets in advance. There will be no tickets purchased at the door because it's a catered event, so we need to give a final head count to the caterer. The last opportunity to buy tickets is Tuesday, June 18th. So if you're not sure what your plans are yet for the week after school gets out with your kids, and you decide last minute that you're able to get out of the house, or maybe you've been home with your kids for the whole week and you want to get out of your house, make that decision by Tuesday, June 18th, because that will be the last day for tickets to be available. It's $35 a person, includes dinner and entertainment for the evening. We are asking folks to dress in attire from their favorite time period, but it's not required. But it would be a lot of fun if folks did get dressed up. There will be prizes for the best costume and outfits for that day. This is a 21 plus adult only event. And then Saturday, June 22nd is what we're calling our traditional Old Home Day celebration here on Pollard Square, Town Hall Green. The road race kicks off at 9 a.m., but before that, we'll be having opening ceremonies around 8:40, 8:45. So we'll be doing the Pledge of Allegiance, the National Anthem, and we'll have the ecumenical prayer by Pastor Aaron Goodrow, as done at prior anniversary events. Is the ecumenical prayer is usually done. And then the road race starts at 9 a.m. Vendors open up on the green. There'll be raffle tables. There will be free games on Saturday as well for families and kiddos to come enjoy. We will have our contest registration set up at the information booth, which is at the gazebo. And then there's the passport game from Historical Society that will be going on throughout the day, and a car show that's going to be out on the front side of Town Hall along Main Street heading up towards the railroad tracks. The baby contest will be at 10 a.m. under the tent. Between 10:30 and 12:30 out in front of the town hall, we will be having some of our local talent come and show off their skills. We do have a few openings that are left. So if you are someone out there and you have a talent, even if it's you want to tell a joke or two, I would love to have some of our younger citizens, if you want to sing a song, anything that works, please email us at oldhomeday@plastow.com. We'd love to fit you in. We have some acts that are a little longer, some that are really short. They just want to read a poem.
There you go, Liz. You can get up
Which is
there and
really
sing.
exciting. So there are still opportunities to do that, performances and talent from local residents. Please reach out to us. We would love to fit you in. We think it's really great opportunity for our citizens to be together and see the amazing skills that are out there. We will be having the beard contest, which will be at 12 p.m. Under the tent. We're very excited to partner with Brooks Barbershop in Plastow this year as the judges. And then very excited that the First Baptist Church will be doing the ice cream social at the church from 12 to 2. So it's a great opportunity to get over there and visit with your neighbors, show some support to the church, as well as getting a little snack before the 2 p.m. parade. Road closures along the parade route are going to begin at 12:45. This year, we're backing up the time because we find that it's really tricky to truly try and get the roads clear for safety purposes for the parade participants. So for those folks that are listening at home, just please plan your travel accordingly. The roads will be closed. There will be barriers and officers in place along Main Street heading south to begin road closures at 12:45. And then the parade is scheduled for 2 p.m. At this point in time, parade registration participants has closed on Saturday, as well as vendors. So we're no longer accepting any more vendors or parade participants. Follow-up information for folks that did register for the parade or vendor opportunities on the green will be receiving information from our coordinators very, very shortly. They're just finalizing a couple of things, and then they'll be reaching out to folks to give them more details about their arrival times and responsibilities for that particular day. We're looking forward to the parade. Should be a great time. And then at 3 p.m. when the parade ends, we'll be drawing the raffle prizes in the back of the green, and then vendors will be closing at 3 p.m., hopefully clearing the green between 3:30 and 4 so that everyone can go home and rest and then come back to the high school. The fireworks are quote unquote scheduled for 9 p.m. And I say that because every night I've been driving home late after some meetings and it's 5 minutes to 9. It's still pretty light out. The fireworks time is dusk, but it does say, around 9 p.m. and that will be at the high school. And then Sunday, June 23rd, we'll be extending the celebration to Terra Farms at 148 Main Street, and that begins at 12 noon. It's the Lions Club 75th anniversary celebration, so they're going to be having axe throwing and cornhole, music, horseshoes, burgers, hot dogs, beer tent, and fishing for kids and things of that nature. So it's definitely a family-friendly event. Everybody can feel free to come on down to enjoy some of the activities that will be happening there. And that's from 12 to 5 p.m.
That's all?
That's all.
Well, actually, there is one more thing that you overlooked, and that's the fireman's muster,
Oh, yes.
which will be happening behind the church after our last conversation with Pastor Aaron. So that'll be shooting from the back parking lot into the parking lot of the school. And your timing issues, I don't have that one on my radar.
Neither do I.
And I apologize for
That's okay.
interrupting, but
I knew it was
that's
in the works. I knew it was in the works. I
it was
just wasn't
something
sure.
new for this year, and a lot of people are excited about it. So I wanted to make sure it got out there.
Yeah, that'll be a cool event to see.
Yes, especially if it's a hot day. It'll definitely be a cool event.
That would be Saturday.
That will be
That's Saturday. I would imagine right after the parade. But
People are supposed to be parking out back there.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
We're working on that.
Well, I was just going to announce parking, so I
Yep.
guess I will pause on that. We also just want to take the opportunity to remind everybody that no dogs are allowed on Town Hall Green for the Board of Selectmen for that particular day. We love animals, but there's a big crowd and a lot of people, and it just keeps everybody safer. Service animals are excluded,
Yep.
obviously, but please do not bring your pet down to the green that day.
Right. Questions?
No, I just want to say thank you. This is a lot of work, and I know that you've put a lot of time and energy into this, and I truly appreciate everything that you've done for this.
And this has been more than a year too, planning on this. You actually kind of started planning this the year before,
Yes.
where it was the bigger event.
It's
But
been nonstop. We were planning last year's Old Home Day event and already reaching
Right.
out to schedule entertainment for the annual celebration, for
Yeah.
the anniversary celebrations. It's been,
yeah, no, it's a lot of work. It's weird when you start planning something until you're like, oh, that's way in the future. But now it's right. It's here.
it's here. It is here.
So if I can interject one more time and put on my Lions and my Terra Farm hat, that the events over at on Sunday are all free as well, excluding the beer tent. So there'll be burgers and dogs. There'll be pie eating contests. There will be a couple of ponies for pony rides. There will be tractor displays and small engine displays, cornhole, as you had already mentioned, horseshoes. We're stocking 50 trout in the front pond, and we'll have a experienced fisherman that is experienced in taking care of kids in educational aspects of fishing there to help support that. There'll be prizes for those games as well. We have a DJ on board. It should be a fun time. I welcome everybody to come over and celebrate with the Lions for their 75th. So, thank you.
And a pre-game plug for the Historical Society next Tuesday at the Public Library at 6 o'clock. Norm Major is going to share some reminiscing of his years in Plasto.
It's
That's
only
great.
been a few. No, it's a good chance to listen to Norm talk, because he goes back a few years, and he's had many hats around here.
We should just dub him Mr. Plastow at this point. I think.
Yeah.
He already wears that badge.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And just one last thing to mention as well is that all of these events are planned, rain or shine. We do not plan to cancel due to rain unless it is a safety concern, and that decision will be determined by the emergency management folks in the town. And while we got away with a lot of dry air, I will call it that, last year, all of these events are planned to run rain or shine. We're going to be utilizing tents as much as possible in case that's the case. But please consider maybe coming down and joining us regardless of whether, because of the heart and soul that was poured into planning and organizing.
Yeah, there was a
implementing these things.
lot of hours. I don't think folks realize how many hours go into this,
I don't
and it's
think
all volunteers.
a lot of people appreciate that 6 people did all of this. When you're reaching out for volunteers, it's not because you're, you feeling lazy that day. You have put so much time and effort, and as well as the other people in your group.
Yeah,
So
and they have to man the games and things like
it's a
that.
lot going on that day.
I mean, it's one of those volunteers, right? Half hour is good, an hour, anything to help.
So we are still seeking volunteers. We really appreciate the folks. People have been reaching out, which is really great. And then when I return communication, I don't hear anything else. So if you were somebody out there that I emailed back and you're coming, please let me know. I just gave them some information about volunteering, but essentially on Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. at Kids Fest, we have games going on. And although, yes, parents are supposed to stay with their kiddos, it's just nice to have a couple of extra pairs of hands to help with games, to help with snacks, to help with crafts. So we're still seeking volunteers for those timeframes. And then on Saturday, we seem to have a lot of heavy volunteer folks in the morning, but we do need some folks in the afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. for
Yeah.
raffle tables and for supervising games. It's really just to make sure all the kids get a turn and get a prize.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it's only a half hour or an hour, that's
we'll
all.
take you for a half an hour if you have 20 minutes. If you're willing to, come down for any time at all, please. We'd be very, very grateful. I also do want to give a shout out to Nancy Bishop and Angela Edwards, they have been volunteering and coming to a lot of meetings, and they've signed up to do a lot of the volunteer hours. Karen Whitaker is also coming back to help us this year as well. So thank you to them. They're not committee members, but they're unofficial committee members for sure. They've really stepped up in the last couple of weeks to fill a gap of helping us get things done. We're very grateful to them.
This is a chance. A lot of people say, what can we do to help in town?
This
Here's
is
an
it.
event
If you're
right
coming
here.
down
Yeah.
anyway,
This
you
is
might
it.
as well stand and
Yeah.
hang out in front of a game and see some smiling faces. The kids really enjoy themselves. Also, a question that's been asked pretty frequently on the Facebook page. Yes, the racetrack is coming back this year, friends. So that was a really big hit last year. So we're looking forward to having them back as well. So if you're interested in doing sort of like a real live version of Mario Kart, small scare, you're not in the car, but that was a big hit last year. So it'll be coming back this year too. The rock climbing wall will be here as well. So
The Boy Scouts, they wanted to do something you needed permission for.
yes. So the Boy Scouts reached out about having their inflatable shooting range, a BB gun range. They sent a video. I'm going to share it with the Board of Selectmen. We felt like it was a decision that needed to come from you guys in terms of safety related things.
I think they used it once before.
That was the communication that we received
For like
from
on one of the
members.
Halloween events, I think it was used
Yeah,
once
and
before.
it is insured by the New Hampshire Council, so they do have certification and folks that are trained in doing it. But just so you know, we will be sharing that with you guys. I'll send you all the links to everything via email, and if you could just let us know, because
Yep.
the committee felt like it was a decision that needed to come from you.
Okay. And Erica, I know that you put something together for some resale items to commemorate this date.
We do. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I had. We're going to have a table at the green down at Pollard Square.
Pollard
I
Square.
promised the
That's
kids.
it?
I
Gotcha.
promised the kids I would bring it back. So this is my attempt because we automatically go to the town green. But we will have a table down here. We'll have commemorative items. We have the water tumblers. We have smaller sizes for the kids. We have Christmas ornaments. We have the beer bottle koozies. We have cookbooks still left over from the last time around. We're going to bring those out again. They're getting vintage, but they'll have a nice little sales price on those.
I saw some neat little bookmarks and some
have
other
some
things for the
bookmarks.
lighter purse.
Yeah, we have for the lighter purse, we have bookmarks, and we also have bottle openers.
Great.
So
Nice.
we got a bunch of different items. We'll be putting them on sale out here on Old Home Day, and then the YMCA will also be taking some of our items and having them for sale at the YMCA for people who can't get there that day.
Great.
Nice. Looking forward to it. It should be a good event. It always is. Let's just
Come
hope.
to the green that day and you need any help or support, you can find somebody that's in a bright purple shirt with yellow writing. So John has his shirt for the day right there.
You should have had it on. You could have modeled
Reach
it
out
for
to
us.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a
Find us.
model,
We'll be
but
circulating on the green. If you need anything or have any questions, but the information booth where you can find out information or what's going on will be at the gazebo as well.
And it's
Thank you.
volunteers.
Yes.
And I'm happy to sit at the information table.
That would be great.
Yeah, if anything comes up the next couple of weeks, let us
Yeah,
know.
just let us know.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming in.
A schedule of events will be going out on my email too.
Oh, good.
So they know when activities are.
Then we could probably post it to the website too, right?
Sure.
Just so it's out there in case anybody. All right. Next up, the New Hampshire DOT, the traffic issues, which is always a fun topic.
I can't wait.
You must get that everywhere you go, right, Corey?
Everywhere. Oh, hey, Dan. Wyatt. Sneaky back there. I mean, I don't think I got a bribe for him.
Corey, if you just want to introduce yourself, so.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Corey Spedalinas. I work for the New Hampshire Department of Transportation in our Highway Design Safety section, which is quite a mouthful, so I apologize for stumbling over that a little bit. Dan,
And I'm Dan Garlington. I'm the highway supervisor in Boston.
All right, welcome, guys, and I just did a little presentation.
Yep. So in some conversations with Greg Colby, we've kind of spun from the Plastow 41641 project, I believe. That's a traffic calming one immediately downtown here, which I'll get into a little bit. We've talked about potential safety measures of converting one-way stops in this particular case, because it's a T intersection, into all-way stops.
Dan, push the mic closer to him. Thank you.
So this particular conversation will be regarding North Ave, which is on the southern end of 121A here in town. So quick agenda, background, some adjacent projects that are nearby. I kind of gave a quick spoiler there. Some safety countermeasures that are already in place at the location. Crash history, which Plastow provided us the last 2 years of data. We'll get into that. And then kind of a discussion of why we're looking into this sort of conversion in the first place from either a one or a two-way stop to an all-way stop, where it makes sense and where there's been crash or safety concerns. And then follow-up discussion or questions if there are any. So it might be easier on the screen behind me. I apologize for the projector. Right now, we have two projects in the Plastow area that are in the immediate area. The 40641, which I mentioned, is a traffic calming project that spans from, Elm Street right here at the town hall? Elm Street, yeah. Down to about the library. That's a traffic calming project. The intent is to promote additional modes of transportation, bikes, peds, on-street parking, slow the speeds down, make it just generally safer for the community through that stretch. That kind of stemmed from traffic using 121A as a sort of bypass around 125. So we have an additional project right below it, the 40645, which is just barely getting underway, is a signal coordination project on 125 to hopefully reduce the delay on 125 and kind of deter people from using 121A as a cut through in the first place. So that's kind of the background where we're at there. The North Ave intersection, which I'll bring back on the screen real quick, you can sort of see up in the top corner. I got it. You can see this yellow beacon up here. That's our overhead flashing beacon, which is not flashing in the picture right there. That is essentially the only safety countermeasure we have at this location, and that's something that historically the DOT or towns have put up to kind of promote the presence of the intersection, if you will. It works okay for newer drivers that may not be familiar with the area, but if you drive through any location like this on the regular basis, you won't even see them. They'll become background. I drive through one near my house that I honestly didn't even realize there was one there until someone pointed it out to me. That's how ineffective they can essentially become. And that CMF stands for crash modification factor of about 5%. Those control beacons reduce your crashes by about 5%. Not negligible, but it's pretty close. So, short of something else, it's okay, but we can do better than that. And then the crash history, thank you, Greg, for providing 12 crashes at North Ave in the last 2 years, give or take. So you're looking at a crash rate about 6 per year. I haven't done the math to see what an intersection like North Ave would expect, but it's probably in the ballpark. So kind of meat and potatoes here. Why are we here? With North Ave being a one-way stop, with 121A having the right-of-way and then the priority through there, why would we consider an all-way stop control here? And we'll get into some of the safety benefits in a minute. Why would we do that over a traffic signal or a roundabout or some other innovative something that someone wants to suggest? I don't have any offhand right now, but I'm sure they're out there. So,
I'm sure there are.
there's lots of innovative suggestions that people will throw out at us. We go, maybe. I mean, it comes down to cost, essentially, usually. Signs and paint are very affordable most of the time. Traffic signals and roundabouts, I mean, you're looking hundreds of thousands, if not low millions of dollars for either of those. You can retrofit a roundabout in some locations, but still, it's difficult in traffic control and whatnot. So, stop signs, always stop control is a very good first step, kind of introduction to changing the safety at an intersection in an affordable and easy way that people are familiar with. So my boss always refers to this as the traffic Bible, if you will, the MUTCD, the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That's where all the guidelines for regulatory signs, signals, paint, all of that comes out of that document. That's a nationwide federal document. There's been 2 states, North Carolina and Delaware, that have had some recent programs within the last few years of doing a 2-way to always stop conversion project, program, what have you, with some very good success, which I'll get into in a minute in case you need some convincing. Some recent New Hampshire success stories, and this is within the last few years. Franconia, Gilmington, Eaton, Auburn. My boss would know umpteen more information about those intersections, so I can't really dive into those too much. But those are all locations that have decent flows of traffic. I mean, we're talking 5,000 cars a day or more. Have had regular calls to the DOT before the always stop control was implemented. They were all 2-way stop control before. This is dangerous. This is a safety concern. Somebody's going to get killed. What does it take for you to do something? Kind of, those standard calls. And since we've implemented it at all of those locations, we've received 0 negative feedback at any of those locations. Other locations under consideration, Lempster, which actually went in a month or so ago. That is a very minor intersection. It's like 400 cars a day. So that was kind of an easy one. Hard to convince them, but it was an easy one for us. Chester, which actually isn't too far from here, 121 and 102, I believe. That one, we've talked to their town. They want some more information on how long the backups would be. There's a project for that particular intersection, so that's kind of using the always stop as an interim for a larger capital project, which is either a roundabout or a signal at that particular location. And then another location at Tuftonboro, which I don't know much about, so I'm going to slide over that one. So here's the MUTCD. There is a more recent version that came out earlier this year that has not been formally adopted by the DOT yet, so we are still using the 2009 version. And I'll break this down a little more, but some of the factors that we consider when we're looking at an always stop is the traffic volumes, obviously how many cars are out there, the driver yield behavior, if there's bikes and peds, the number and angle of approaches. North Ave is pretty skewed at this particular intersection. How fast the vehicles are going, how far you can see on each leg, and the reported crash experience, which we had the last 2 years. So I'm not going to read all this. The part that we're most interested in, this is straight out of the MUTCD, Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. This is the guidance that they give you for an all-way stop. The part we're mostly concerned about is 5 or more reported crashes in a 12-month period that are susceptible, I have this larger here, susceptible to correction by a multi-way stop installation. Such crashes include right turn and left turn collisions, as well as right angle collisions. So we're talking about the people that are pulling out more than likely out of North Ave, whether they either have been there for a while and their gap acceptance is a little less, they're getting impatient, they're, I'm going to gun it and make it, and I've been staring left the whole time because the sight distance, is pretty bad looking south if you're sitting on North Ave. So that's to the left, and all of a sudden you see this gap, but you haven't looked right in a while, and you go out, and all of a sudden, T-bone, angle, what have you, crashes like that, or, likewise, someone's waiting to turn on to North Ave, trying to make a left, and it's just been, through heading north, and, they see something, and they misjudge the timing, and all of a sudden there's another crash there. Those are the crashes that we're trying to identify that a always stop should reduce and or eliminate. Additional criteria, this is optional type stuff when you need some more convincing or something else to stand on when you're making these decisions. We're mostly concerned with C and D here. Locations where a road user, after they stop, cannot see conflicting traffic and are not able to negotiate the intersection unless conflicting cross traffic is also required to stop. Short of cutting down a bunch of trees on the left side of North Ave, that I feel applies to a degree. And also D, an intersection of 2 residential neighborhood collectors or through streets. Granted, North Ave kind of ends there. It's not necessarily a through street, but it does carry a fair volume. Of similar design and operating characteristics where multi-way stop control would improve traffic operational characteristics of the intersection. So I know North Ave carries, I had the numbers, I did not write them down, I should have, about 8,000 or 9,000 vehicles a day, which is pretty much the same as 121A in its, from our counts in 23. So, from one leg having a higher volume than another and really, taking a hit more than the others, we don't really have that here because they're all weighted fairly equally. So I'll come back to that. So I mentioned the recognition that Delaware and North Carolina got. They got some National Roadway Safety Awards recognizing innovations to protect pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists. And these were 2 projects that were recognized out of 10 nationwide. So this caught our eye because, when 2/10 of the awards are for the same thing, and it's something as, I don't want to use the word simple, but something as practical as adding some stop signs and some paint, it perks our ears and gets our attention. So Delaware's project included converting 20 low-volume intersections from 2 ways to all ways. North Carolina had a significantly larger list, being a larger state, and both had a very high success at reducing their fatal and serious crashes at these intersections. So some numbers from Delaware. Let's get to the chase a little bit here. Those 3 columns that have the red boxes in are kind of the most important ones. You can see before this project was implemented in Delaware, they had about 121 crashes at these 25 intersections. They added 5 intersections along the line. I previously noted 20. And afterwards, they only had 52. So they had 57% crashes or 57% reduction in just crashes. Any severity, property damage, injury, doesn't matter. 57% less crashes as a whole. And then you go to the far right of that table, severity, which is really what our safety section at the DOT is mostly concerned with from a safety perspective, is they reduced their injuries from nearly 50 to less than 10. You're looking at 82% reduction in just injuries. The fatals are such a small sample size, and fatals are admittedly fairly random. You can predict what types of crashes will happen at locations pretty confidently, but it's much harder to predict the severity of those crashes. So although the numbers do show they went from almost 2 to 0, it's such a small sample size, you can't put a whole lot of merit in that. But the injury rate going down 82% is huge. Likewise, in North Carolina, and I'll have a fancy table for this one, but they had a 68% reduction in crashes, 77% reduction in fatal and injuries. So we're looking at 77 versus 82 for Delaware, and 75% reduction in frontal impact crashes, which are very likely resulting in an injury if you hit head on. So those are great to reduce. The benefit is very low cost. $20,000 is actually much higher than it would cost us for a conversion of the same nature here. That 20,000 is likely putting the project out to bid and having a contractor do it. If we do these in-house through either the DOT or the town, the cost of signs and paint and borrowing some message boards from our district folks, it's very, very minimal. All the signs are fabricated in-house if it comes through the state. So that benefit to cost 83 to 1 is simply saying that $20,000 is 83 times the safety benefit of converting these intersections to always stops based on the injuries and crash types were happening, which is huge. Anything over 1 to 1 is good from a safety perspective. And then because people are so familiar with always stops and they're all over the place, people typically know how to drive them. You can install them on primary routes without violating the driver's expectation or creating additional safety concerns. The only caveat I would put to that is that you probably will have a temporary increase in rear end collisions as the main line that did not have to stop will now be required to stop. That typically goes away, but there will be, like any, install a new signal, a new roundabout, a new always stop, people are going to not see the message board for some reason and drive into the person in front of them. But I will take a rear end crash over an angle crash 100% of the time. So a little bit more from North Carolina. They put together these nice graphics. The one on the left is kind of targeting the treatment at certain intersections and how effective they are. So if we're starting at the bottom, the overhead flashing beacon, which we noted we have in North Ave, in addition to stop ahead pavement markings, which we don't typically do in New Hampshire due to winter maintenance and plowing and how often you would have to reapply that paint. Those they found were likely missing the safety target in a lot of cases. We noted that the flashing beacon is about a 5% reduction in crashes on a good day. The next step is vehicle entering when flashing lights, which is like advanced detection type deal. Or enhanced intersection signing. So you have your stop aheads, your intersection aheads, which are great, but it's also very easy to drive past a sign, even if there's a flashing light on it for some people. And even the advanced warning conflict systems, we have a few out in the state now for trial. We're just finding them not very effective because they end up being something that's flashing all the time. And they turn into an overhead flashing beacon type situation where people just, it's flashing yellow. It's done that every single time. Why should I expect anything different? So the top two, at least from their study here, the top two treatments were an always stop and a roundabout. Roundabouts obviously control speed potentially better than an always stop will because it has the geometry associated with it. But they're both very effective in reducing crashes in general, but specifically injury and severe injury, and hopefully not, but fatal crashes as well. The table to the right is the volume thresholds, and I did write it down, so here we go. The volume thresholds for when North Carolina would do their analysis for an always stop. So you can see that 4,000 to 4,000 darker green box, I'm gonna call it. If an intersection fell in that category, they'd say, we don't even need to have to analyze this. It's going to work just fine. Put it in. That light green box going up to 7,500 vehicles a day on each leg, they would do some analysis and look at it. This particular intersection falls in the reddish pink category along the outside of that, going up to 15,000. So I noted both roads were around 8,500 or so. I was a little low. North Ave is about 86. Main Street's around 9,000. So we're just entering that box. I did do some analysis, and I would need, to be quite frank, some more information on turning counts and such to see what traffic is actually doing at this intersection. When I ran my Synchro model, which is the program that we use to analyze intersections like this, and I tried to get the peak hours. I tried to grab the highest hour volumes I could get from our counts from 2023. It didn't seem like it behaved poorly. Granted, if everyone shows up at the same time, you do have that road immediately north, whose name eludes me. Thank you. That could potentially get blocked at times. But the benefit of an all-way stop is that, potentially I'll say potentially, in theory, every third car that goes should be the leg that you're concerned about. So if you go northbound 121A, then North Ave, then southbound 120A, and kind of go in that, I know it doesn't work quite like that, but in theory, every third vehicle should be alleviating that problem, and it should allow whoever's waiting to turn and resolve itself. So I would want to do a little bit more analysis before I really say, yes, absolutely put in some stop signs. But I think we're on the right track for the whole picture here, which we'll get into. So I kind of mentioned a lot of this. To do a quick recap. Pros of an always stop control is promote safer speeds on the major route, which is currently 121A and is uncontrolled, and does have the higher speeds because it is used as a bypass for 125 to a degree. It does require all drivers to stop. So currently, if you're having crashes at an intersection where only one or two legs need to stop, you're looking at those gaps, and you've been waiting for a while, and you get impatient, and now those gaps are forced to happen by a driver on the other leg stopping. And for something to happen, you need essentially two people to fail to yield the right of way at the same time. You need someone to pull out in front of someone blowing the stop sign, or you need to have two people blowing the stop sign at the same time, which is much less likely than someone just going through an uncontrolled intersection. Slower or stop traffic provides a safer environment for pedestrians. I know there's no sidewalks in this area, but maybe down the road, it would provide a good opportunity for some crosswalks if the need arose. Does not require a long-term commitment to flashing beacons or other stop sign enhancements. Some towns have looked for the flashing yellow LEDs that go on top of the stop sign. Sometimes the DOT does not endorse those or install those, but if the towns want to do that as part of an effort like this, we are willing to create a maintenance agreement for the installation of it and the towns to maintain those. And you can implement it really quickly. I mean, like I mentioned, it's just signs and paint, essentially, and a week or two, sometimes longer if you want, of advance notification with some message boards on the legs that are going to be affected. The con is that you need to re-educate all the drivers that use this intersection. So everyone that's used to using 121A as a bypass or just your daily commute is now going to need to realize that you cannot just drive through where North Ave is. You need to stop and operate by the rules of an all-way stop. So the enhanced conspicuity of the signs, usually we add the orange arrow, or not orange arrow, orange flags on either side for a certain period of time. You could put in bigger stop signs. If the issue is sight, you could put in flanking stop signs. So you have one on each side of the road. You can do a little bit of clearing at that corner so the trees aren't in the way. And it does introduce a new delay, which is part of the analysis I want to refine a little further, is how much delay does that actually add to traffic on 121A? It will allow North Ave to get out faster, but how much does that sacrifice 121A? So next steps, short of me doing some more analysis on this, is local support for the always stop. If there's not, no harm, no foul, we don't do anything. if there is, or sorry, if there still isn't, and the town of Plastow wanted to do something there, it would need to be, depending on ownership of the road, either a 10-year plan or I'm drawing a blank here. Working with our planning and community assistance bureau to work something out that would be much more significant and expensive ultimately. If there is local support, I would finish up the detailed evaluation, get some traffic turning counts. I can pull speeds along 121A very easily and see what's going on there, any time of day, any day of the week, and see how that plays into it. If the always stop is feasible, depending on that additional evaluation, I'd work with Greg and get resources available, whether they're DOT or Plastow, to implement that on a timeline that works for you guys. And I feel like because North Ave is ours, we would have some sort of degree of involvement here. But it's very quick for the DOT personnel to install some stop signs, put some paint bars down after we've had that advance warning with the message signs of a couple weeks. I have a question slide, but I'm going to back up really quickly first, unless there's any pressing North Ave or always stop concerns that the board might have.
I guess what else you had to?
So the only thing I was going to add is kind of the long-term picture that Greg and I have discussed, and I think he's foreshadowed it a little bit, is we have the Westville Ave median demonstration, I guess I'll call it, out there now, which is in the middle of the proposed traffic calming project, which is great. That seems to be working even better than we thought it would, actually. And then the other intersection that has caught our radar for a potential always stop is East and West Pine. I've heard that there is, I don't have the numbers or the data, but I've heard that there's also a crash history at that location for those roads.
Yeah, that's another one you have to gun it to get across.
Yeah. So per the MUTCD, stop signs are not a tool to calm traffic, but they kind of have that effect in just how they exist, basically. So long term, and North Ave is obviously I say obviously, it's obvious to me, but because of the volumes at North Ave, that's the question mark if an always stop works at that intersection for me. Like I said, the evaluation I did looks like it would be absolutely fine, but I do want to fine tune it. I don't want to put something in and find it to just back up all three legs for a minute or more for each leg, and all of a sudden there's this huge public cry out, and you have to go back because once you put it in, although it's easy to pull out, then you have to re-educate people again that, oh, hey, we had to stop and now we don't again. So people might be stopping when they shouldn't again. It can cause a mess. So I don't want to put it in and then pull it out and go back and forth. But if you could get a series of always stops at North Ave, East and West Pine, maybe Westville, depending on the direction the board wants to go with how it is now versus how the project that includes that intersection goes. Those series of kind of built-in delays, I think, in addition to the signal coordination on 125 project, would help keep a lot of that traffic on 125 and kind of bring this stretch of 121A back into the downtown.
And I think that's the main goal, right? Try to get as much out to 125 as we can.
Right. Yeah. Maintain speeds. I'll say contain speeds along this stretch of 121A, and kind of promote, like the old home days, promote people being out and about and interacting and checking out the local stores and, having safe routes for your children to get to the school down the road and the library at the other end of this project, at least. But
yeah, because I think at Westville, it seems like that's working, Danny. Do you think? Westville?
I do think it's working.
Because I know I take that turn all the time, right? That's just how I cut through to get out on 25. And I think just slowing down to take the right onto Westville, that's great for pedestrians. walking across there, and especially no more double stacking. I think that's almost one. I think it's proven that works. How it's set up now, it's just a matter of finalizing and getting that piece done.
Yeah, and I'll work with Greg to get the next step on that one. That one actually surprised us a little bit, not to stray from North Ave too much, but
No, we'll get back to North Ave, don't worry.
Westville kind of surprised us because, I mean, the intention of that was to reduce the double stacking and kind of make it impossible for them to do that, because as soon as you double stack, this guy can't see that way, this guy can't see the other way, and now you're pulling out in front of people because Joe Schmo here, Dan, pulled up next to me, and I can't see through your truck, Dan.
Yeah.
And just talking to Greg, he feels like the intersection is actually working more efficiently now, even though you get less vehicles right up on the intersection, which is.
I've seen a higher level of courtesy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other drivers coming the other way. They're actually stopping and allowing people out, and it seems to have brought the community.
That's awesome.
Closer together on
It
working with that.
But it seems like right there, that's something I think we could. It's working, so it seems like that's one we could think about moving forward with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on our radar for an always stop potentially before, kind of when we came and met with Dan and Greg and another gentleman.
Okay.
Yes, Jay, yes. And kind of seeing how this is working now, plus you throw May Ray into the mix if you made it an always stop, like that, it's just an awkward configuration. And how far does the stop bar have to be, and the store and the parking lot there? If it's working with how it's configured right now, let's not break it. So I have no problem working with Greg a little more and trying to figure out the next steps to formalize that, I guess.
Yeah, because that would be good, because the barrels aren't, going to be good in the wintertime.
Right. Yeah.
Getting that crosswalk would be truly important for the kids for the school.
Yeah, because the school's right there, and you have people, pedestrians walk across there all the time.
Right. Yeah, it's a huge opening, or was. It's a little less now with the
Right.
barrels out there. And I know there's sidewalks proposed through there for the project that's coming through.
Yeah.
So kind of advanced connect the dots doing this ahead of time, but it's needed. So that's kind of the long, big vision plan, I guess, of this stretch of 121A from where it meets 125 up to the town hall essentially here. Kind of introduce a series of safety improvements, and I am more than happy to come back and talk about the Pines at a later point with some data, and North Ave again once I have some more confidence
Yeah, because
in
the
that.
pine should be addressed too, right?
Question, Corey. What do you anticipate, if anything, the data to be any different than what you're already pulling off of the North Ave? Do you anticipate that data to be that far off from justifying one versus the other? One intersection versus the other?
As far as the crash data goes?
Yeah.
Or
Or the traffic, the data that you need to reanalyze. Do you anticipate that data to be that much different at West Pine and East Pine as it is at North Ave?
No, North Ave. So typically, if I go back to, my fingers would work. If I go back to this slide, if we're looking at that right table with the volume thresholds.
Yeah.
Because North Ave and Main fall in this kind of pinky red box, I want to do a little bit more to make sure I know. I have a rough idea. I have traffic counts in both directions. On North Ave, south of the intersection, and I have it like way up here just south of Town Hall. So I don't know which direction traffic is generally turning. I made some educated guesses when I did my model, and it seemed to work, but I feel like a lot more vehicles are turning north than my numbers would let me. Otherwise, the math didn't work.
North coming out of North Ave?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And there must be a bigger population of vehicles between North Ave and some point south of here, because if I have as many vehicles, I think, turning right out of north, the number would be much higher than the traffic counter just south of the town hall gave me. So I think that my traffic numbers, my turning counts are off a little bit. So I want to get some numbers on those. And the crash data we looked at, most of them are either angles or rear ends. So, you could go either way on, is a rear end correctable with an always stop? Probably not, because the condition's still the same.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a gray area between, I'm gonna throw another color in there, but is there a gray area in between the pink and the light green?
Well, I'm not saying because it's in the pink, we need a roundabout.
No,
I mean,
no, no, I
that's
know
not
that.
where I want to go with that.
But where's the gray area that would justify the stop sign system at West Pine and East Pine and North Ave? Is it that small section of corridor, is there gonna be a gray area that would justify both of those intersections?
I think looking at them independently is where you go. With North Ave having the bigger volumes, if North Ave works, I'm not worried about the other ones. They're going to work. Because I know, even if you maintain 9,000 vehicles on Main Street, Pine Street's going to have much less. And, again, if you're encouraging vehicles to stay on 125, whether it's through the signal coordination project or introducing some more stop signs or the traffic calming project that's coming through, and you can take even a portion of that and keep it on 125, those numbers are going to go down. So maybe just by those efforts, now you're back in the green where you would,
Right.
I'm not saying because it's red, I don't feel comfortable putting an always stop, because if I
No.
did, I wouldn't be here.
I
But-
think I know what you're saying. And the reason why I'm asking the question is because when I did my non-official surveys, I mentioned I came in front of the board and there was a few things that I noticed that stood out to me. In the amount of traffic that is coming in the afternoon that's coming out of Westville Road and taking a right is so much greater than it is the people that's taking a left. So somehow, some way, these same vehicles, and a lot of them were out-of-state vehicles.
Sure.
So these same vehicles are coming into town and finding their way to 125, which is where they're going home from. They're coming up Westville Road and taking a right. So what I anticipate is if there's updated data or traffic counts, I see a lot of people coming out of North Ave, taking a right and taking a quick left down Chandler.
Yep.
Which I know personally they do it, but what I'm concerned with is that data is going to show or maybe prove that always stop at West Pine and East Pine might not fall into the criteria that you're going to need to justify the change.
Because I'll have too many vehicles turning at the
You'll have
pines,
less
or-
vehicles.
Oh, I see. Less
You'll have
people wanting to use the Pine streets as opposed to this situation. I mean, I can see where you're coming from. It'd be a consideration in the turning counts, but really it's just providing the gaps for the side roads to get out and controlling the speeds and reducing the chance of somebody pulling out when somebody else is coming through and either they don't see them or they're looking the other way or they've been sitting there for 45 seconds and the kid's going crazy in the back seat and they just want to get home and they pull out. And
Because what I see happening, I see the people coming down Chandler Ave to go into town.
Yep.
And then they know at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's gonna be who knows what going on at Chandler Ave on 125.
Yep.
I mean, Chandler Ave, because you literally come out of Chandler and you gotta take a real quick left onto North Ave. So what they're doing is they're coming down Westville, they're coming down 125 to Westville Road, and they're coming down and then they're just taking one left onto North Avenue.
Right. Yeah, that the movement for this particular North Ave intersection that I'm most concerned about is, I have a good picture of the intersection close up. Kind of do, not really. Is the movement that you just described coming out of North Ave, taking the right to head north, and then immediate left onto Chandler, because that would clog up the intersection to a higher degree because now the person's waiting to turn left onto Chandler, and the likelihood of people leaving that intersection open, maybe they'll learn to leave it open. Maybe you could put some markings on the pavement, leave
Don't
intersection
block the
open. Yeah, exactly. But I would expect most people would probably just fill the gap and block that off. If you have a lot of people turning right out of North Ave, that actually kind of helps the operation of the always stop because now, the opposing left turning onto North Ave can still go at the same time, as opposed to a left out of North Ave that now stops both legs. So if that's the case, I think from just the strictly North Ave and Main Street perspective, that helps the argument for an all-way stop. It's just how do you factor Chandler into it? And
I think the people already factor Chandler. I think they already do it
Mhm.
for what you're saying. There'll be people that'll come out of North Ave and they're gonna take an immediate left onto Chandler. And then there's a stack of cars waiting
Yep.
to go onto North Ave. They're letting people in, or they're letting a car out of Chandler Ave to go,
Right.
I see it, and like Mr. Giffen said, I saw through the process of the 2 weeks, I saw the amount of people being patient, letting people in and out of Westville Road. It changed immensely. I mean, people learned it, they figured out what their directional was, their turn signals, because at the beginning of it, I don't know.
They
And
learned
then
that all cars
towards
come
the
with them, huh?
Yeah, towards the end of it, just in the times that I was there, I saw more people using their directionals telling.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I don't live in Plaistow, so take this with a grain of salt. But if you introduce some more delay by that turning movement at Chandler and the potential for that being blocked and slow down 121A a little more, maybe after you get stuck behind that so many times, the people that were coming on 121A that should have stayed on 125 will say, well, I'm not dealing with that stop sign because the next left is a nightmare. I'll just stay over here and deal with
I think the biggest thing that would force out to 125 would be the trucks. They do not want to stop and start.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the last thing they want to do, especially when you're going up a hill.
In my history with the town, there was an opportunity way back in the day, and I'm gonna say it was in the late 80s, where the town of Plastow had an opportunity to have a roundabout put at this exact intersection.
Oh, yeah.
Got down to the last vote, and the selectmen voted against it because it would mean disruption of people's property and taking of people's property.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is to touch someone's land.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you could deter trucks, I could see a mini or a compact going in there, something with a mountable center island. But again, the cost for that is substantially more than some signs and some paint. And maybe it is the right solution later on. But if you could get people adapted to stopping at North Ave, whether you're on 121A or North Ave, and kind of modify their behavior for that, get the expectancy for this is going to take a little longer if I go this way, we're going to go a little slower, and then, maybe downtown creeps southerly a little and you want to add some more ped facilities and creep the sidewalks down, maybe make it a little more accommodating for everyone at that point. But, that's obviously long-term. That would be my ideal solution, but stop signs are very
And I believe we
second
agreed,
option.
and you might not have been part of the conversation, but we all agreed that we're not gonna talk about us taking over the road.
I talked to you already.
Conversations with Greg.
Our district guys reached out before this and he was like, hey,
It was all the way back to Mike Burlage, so you can look up those.
yeah, if they want North Ave, they can do whatever they want to. I'll bring it up, but I'm not expecting that to go in your favor. So yeah, I guess just feedback from the board. I am more than happy to do some more analysis on the turning movements to get that data and just feel a little more confident that something here would work from an operational perspective, especially with Chandler being right there.
Yeah, I'd say if you got to do the analysis, my opinion, go ahead and do it because something's got to be done there. Right? I mean, sitting here and saying do nothing, that's really not an option.
Yeah, I should have left. My boss always had a quote on the very end slide, which I'm going to scroll to, even though it's not there anymore. That quote from Einstein that says, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different.
Yeah.
You leave it how it is. You shouldn't expect it to get better. People aren't going to, if they haven't learned by now.
So are you looking for a consensus from the board to move forward? And
Yeah.
Start.
Just a consensus.
I would say do the next steps, get your data. Because I avoid North Ave to the best of my ability.
I don't blame you. Just
It's-
driving up 121A and not being able to see North Ave, I don't blame you.
Yeah, in East Pine, I'd like to see something done.
Yeah, East Pine, that's really just stop signs right there.
Yeah, those are.
That's kind of like an easy solution there too.
Right. Yeah, I could look at the volumes and I
Yeah, I would because you'd like to get something done there. I mean, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'd have to look at, I was gonna say, yeah, we could do it, and, if they both work, we'll just do them at the same time, but I'm trying to think how many message boards we have to let everyone know appropriately.
No, even if you did
So-
one at a time, but
but-
you were working towards that end goal.
Right.
Yeah, I think the big piece too is the educational piece
Sure it is.
in getting people, because I know Westville Ave, we did a lot of, this is what's
The
gonna
one on
happen.
Westville, I think everybody adapted to that one pretty
That was
quick.
pretty quick.
But then again, you see a bunch of barrels out there. It's gonna change how you work.
So not to put you on the spot, but how long do you think it would take to come up with something to address the permanent solution at Westville Road?
I was starting to like you, Dan.
Well, I'm thinking about long-term.
Yeah.
I haven't done my paving yet.
Yeah.
Probably justify paving a portion of Westville Road as part of my paving project.
Sure.
Right. So I know last I talked to you and Greg, we were talking about just throwing some turning templates on there and making sure that if there was a raised curb concrete median there, that, box trucks or something wouldn't clip the sign that was there, which I did write down because I forgot to do it. So I'll do that. But otherwise, I mean, we have standards for median islands that you could pull from, and being on Westville, I would think Plastow would be on the hook for that, but I could follow up and double check that.
I was thinking more of a
But
pavement.
Oh, the
Granite.
yeah, you could do that too. That's fine.
Cape
Yeah,
type of berm.
yeah.
The biggest question is going to be how to incorporate the crosswalk
Mhm.
into that intersection. You go to the middle of the island, you go behind it. I think that's where we probably need our most help.
Yeah, I can look at the geometry and see. Ideally, we would like some sort of refuge within the island. So you'd have, a raised island on either side to some degree. If they have to pass entirely on the 121 side of the median, they could, and maybe it gets shored up a little bit with the project coming through. If the road narrows a little bit or on-street parking puts in, it might give you some more opportunity to take some of that real estate that's currently used for 121A. And I don't know the ultimate plan, so I'm just speculating.
Right.
But I think there's opportunities to at least get something in there that's better than what's there now, to kind of replicate what the barrels are doing. And then if it's not fully a vetted idea, finish it with the project. So I can coordinate with you and you and Greg some more on that one.
That'd be a good step one, right? Get that one nailed down.
I think we already have a good step one. I think it's.
I do.
I think
It's implemented. Yeah, it's
I think we're
implemented.
very successful. I think it's been very successful from what I've heard from feedback, from what you guys maybe have heard, what you've relayed to me as feedback.
Yeah.
I mean,
And just driving on it. I'm on that road almost every day.
It was a few barrels and we lost a few lights and a couple cones and all of that. But
And yeah,
way better than I probably anticipated.
and everyone adjusted to it pretty quickly too. That was the thing. You didn't have
I
a,
think they'll do the same at North Ave. I really do think people will.
Yep.
I think people are eager to get an adjustment on North Ave at this point too.
I agree.
Right.
So I think that
Yeah.
you're going to get that respect
Yeah, and
factor that it's moving forward.
And then you take care of Pine Street too. That adds to it too. Now we're forcing more out to 125, getting them out of the village.
I have mixed feelings on doing them both at the same time, but I got to give that some more thought. So
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, you can do it like, one, you get used to one and then the other. But at least, as long as we have a goal where we're going to get to and have like a timeline.
Yeah.
I think doing one at a time is smart anyway. Introduce one, get them used to it, get our message boards available for the next one, and do that. Something I forgot to note on North Ave, it's relatively minor in my mind, is that the pavement is pretty wide on the approach leg when you're on North Ave coming into 121, which does allow them to double stack currently.
Yep.
So it might be a little more substantial than just some signs and paint. There'd probably be some pavement cutting to reduce that pavement width for the approach lane.
If that's what makes sense.
Keeping in mind with, there would be some truck traffic that we wouldn't want to, coming from North Ave, that I wouldn't want them to get stuck if someone's waiting southerly on 121A or run them over.
The truck can go back out to 125.
Go back to Massachusetts. So yeah, that's something I would want to look at because I don't want to put a stop sign and then have them
You're gonna pave
double
the road
stack
this year,
anyway.
so it's on
Yeah,
the schedule,
yeah.
so it might be something that
Yep,
they might.
Yeah, while you're paving it.
yep,
You
that's
don't wanna
a good
pave
point.
that whole intersection, then have to come back.
I gotta look into that. Good call.
Wouldn't want the state to waste any money now.
No, taxpayer money, man.
We get all this done by Columbus Day.
There you go. So the board's backing this 100% at this
I
point.
think so, yeah. Get the analysis done. Because, we got to move forward. Like we were saying, something has to be done.
Yeah.
Doing nothing is not an option.
Okay, so I'll look to gather some more turning counts for North Ave. I'll grab some data for Pine. And if you want me to come back and give you a recap, or I could go through Greg and he could talk to you guys, whichever way is works best for you guys, we can accommodate.
Well, another thing I mentioned the last time I came in and gave him my analysis is it's good to know that we're working this out collectively with the state of New Hampshire again. I know there's been some issues in long-term past. It's good to know that we can sit down and talk this out and come up with something together, Not just putting our hand out and asking you to fix it. We want to be part of fixing it,
No, absolutely. We don't want to just come in and steamroll you guys. We want to make sure that whatever we propose to put in, especially with this being a shared maintenance road anyway, and being the road to your downtown, that it works for the town of Plastow and the community as well. We don't want to just just come in with stop signs. Let us know what you think.
Right.
So
It did work on another part of town, so the intersection of Palmer Ave, Sweet Hill, Hill Spring, and Smith Corner.
Oh, I remember when that one,
Those weren't a four-way stop. We converted it and removed pavement and all of that.
and I remember when that went in, it was like the first couple of times you went through there, like, oh, gee, that's right, there's a stop sign here now. But you adjust.
make it obvious it changed, and people will adjust. Absolutely. So awesome. Appreciate the time.
All right, well, thank you for coming
you
in.
so much.
Thank
Be
you.
in touch with more information.
I do have a sign for Chandler Avenue if we decide to change the traffic patterns. I have one to post on that road, so.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, the message board.
Eager.
But I have the actual metal sign. I had one made up
Oh, okay.
that I put on Westville Road, so
Okay.
traffic pattern change
Yeah,
ahead or whatever.
that does just as good.
Yeah.
Maybe we get some of those.
Thank you, Corey.
I can leave that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
Greg has my info.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll take one. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
You too.
You too.
All right, next up, we have, Greg, gonna pull the light on the situation. Highway Department update.
Not quite sure what you're looking for, but
I guess just kind of an update, the status, how everything's going.
yeah, got a lot going on. We got our street sweeping program going on right now. Weather hasn't exactly cooperated as best as I was hoping, so we should be back at it tomorrow. We probably have another 4 or 5 total, full days of sweeping left. Keep in mind that we not only sweep the roads that we own, but we also sweep the roads that we take care of in the winter. Main Street, Elm Street. So any road that we apply salt down, we at least sweep the gutters of it. So, Old Home Day, as she'd already mentioned. Old Home Day is a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of preparation and
Now it's a full day for you.
makes it a longer day when you only got 3 guys. But like anything else, we'll get through it and we'll make it work. And I'll try to get in touch with whoever. I just found out that you guys they're changing the time in which they're shutting the roads down. So I'm glad I was listening to that. So I'll make arrangements for that. Things in the work, the irrigation system over the park, we are making a lot of progress. Not sure how much you guys know about it, but historically the system was down and out. Hasn't been really working for 4 or 5 years now. It's one of those projects in motion. It's not going to fix itself in 1 year. It's not going to fix itself in 2 years. It's going to be, an investment for the, for 4, 5, 6 years. But we're making progress. The irrigation system's working. So, another project that's been kind of put off a little bit is the swales, the drainage swales over the park. If Mother Nature cooperates and doesn't let it rain every other day and every weekend, then we might be able to get in there with an excavator and cut some of the brush and dredge some of the swales like we did. I think we did a part of it, a couple years ago, Greg?
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's like I know every few years you have it on your maintenance to
Yeah,
keep up
so
with.
it was supposed to be done last year, so I know it just didn't happen.
No, I mean,
Fingers crossed that we can get it to happen this year.
Yeah, last year it rained like every day, I think.
You needed a boat to get in there.
What's that?
Said you needed a boat to get in there.
Yeah, because you can see it overgrown over the fences now in some
Yeah,
areas
so-
over there now.
Just so if people, it hasn't been forgotten, it's just, other project, we got the Autumn Circle. I don't know if they're aware of the Autumn Circle, but got that somewhat straightened out a little bit. Going to move forward with figuring out what roads I'm going to pave. The process that I go through is I have this much money, and then there's certain things that go along with the paving, like the shoulders, and
Sure.
so I work from the budgeted number, and I get down to the point where I have this is how many tons I can use, and then I back into that and figure out which roads I could do. And I try to keep in mind certain things like you're not going to do a road that's might get water, drinking water on it in the next 3 or 4 years. So, and then who knows, the Westville Road might put a little edge into that. I don't know how fast that can move, but I have considered that.
When are you hoping to pave, Dan?
I'm gonna shoot for the end of June, first part of July, depending on how well Old Home Day goes. I got to work with the vendor, Continental Paving. So I got to work with them. They've unfortunately had a little hiccup in their logistics. They lost a huge member of their family, so but I got to work with them and try to get into their schedule. I basically plan on 2 days of paving, so it's a matter of figuring out which roads I'm going to pave, and I can't pave on the days they're going to pick up trash and stuff. So
Right.
sign work, I'm in the process of changing or updating the speed limit signs on all our main roads that we do post the speed limit, like Chandler, West Pine, East Pine. We've gone with a bigger sign. It's a little bigger than it's required, but I think it's, an attempt to try to control speed the best we can without being out there every day. We've changed, we've gone with a little bit higher reflectivity to the sign. Same with the chevrons, which are those little triangles that you see at a lot of these. We've tried to update some of those so they're not only updated, but they're a little bit brighter in color. So, and all in an effort to try to, make the roads a little safer when people come to town. Line striping, eventually we'll get into doing our, depending on what we have, what we pave, we'll come in and do our yellow lines and some of our white lines. Last year was we had taken a couple, 3 years off from doing it, so it was good to get some done last year. It held up good, and we'll see what this year brings us. Drainage project, Kelly Road, we've had an issue over there for forever. We have nowhere to really outlet the water, a couple big puddles, so I'm trying to work out my own strategy to put a couple leaching basins in, which would just allow the water to seep into the ground. And so I'm going to try to get some bid prices out on that. I think I got the specs down to where I'm comfortable. And then I'll got a couple, 3 prices to see, where that number falls within the budget, and if it doesn't, then I'll either try to reduce it or try to work with, trying to find some money somewhere else to get it done. That's about it, unless you guys have some questions or,
No.
all my trucks at this point are running, knock on wood. Well, I appreciate all your support on updating my equipment. We have not got to welding the frame on that 550 yet. We do use the truck. They will never see another plow, so we do utilize the truck.
I'll tell you, it is amazing though what you guys do. It's a crew of 3 guys, what you get accomplished around town. I don't know if everyone realizes all the work. That's why it's nice for you to come in and,
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I think for the most part, people do. People, going to market basket, people say thank you, and that's more than expected, to be honest with you.
but no, you guys do quite a bit. You really do.
We got a lot of miscellaneous stuff going on this time of year too, like today we mowed the police firing range so they can have their qualifying. This week's the playoffs for the Little League, so I'm trying to schedule to see if the fields can get mowed twice this week instead of once. So it's a lot of logistical things, but it's all stuff that, has to happen somehow.
Yeah, even had you out there yesterday at Park with dumping some mulch out there.
That one was on me. Yeah, I wanted to come in Saturday and do it, but I guess it was something they wanted to do prior to putting it down or something. I don't, leveling it out or whatever.
Get the weeds out and.
Yep, that's what it was, yeah. Glad it happened and I'm glad it worked out. And
I appreciate all you do. Thanks
you.
for the heads up.
I just appreciate everything
Thank
you
you.
do when you listen. And I know there are some people who are, come right at you, but, I thank you for everything you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, it's a lot of logistical things, and you got to try to get what you can with what you have, and it's the way it's always
The
been.
nature works with you instead of against you.
Yeah, and again, I said the support from the board and the town manager, and goes a long ways in my eyes to know that at least if something was to happen, somebody's got my back on it. I appreciate that.
And not to say that you're happy with 3 guys with,
No,
if somebody that needs a job.
Right.
We have 1 or 2 openings. We'd be
Yeah.
glad to entertain.
How many openings? 1 or 2?
I think we have one, but
I'd like to hire 2.
Okay.
Yeah. To
I'm sure Danny would too.
go with the water department side of things.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
As a public works department versus just a highway department.
Yep, okay.
Yes.
I think there's something else you got to consider is it's difficult to take vacation time in the wintertime. So people,
Yeah.
I just got back from vacation myself, and prior to that, my foreman was on vacation. So to even have 3 guys in the course of a week is sometimes difficult. So
Yeah, and
to have 5 guys and have 3 show up every week would be a bonus.
No, it's tough with 3, right? Things happen with families too sometimes.
I'm beginning to take it a little personal that nobody wants to work with me, but it is what it is.
I believe so, yeah. Plastow.com.
Okay. So that, we believe that position and its criteria is posted on the Plastow website. So if you're watching this, there's an opportunity to get
Yeah.
on there.
Opportunities.
It's a union position.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of kids are starting to graduate now too.
I thought I had one. I had the little gentleman I took to school for that Pollard school thing. I was trying to recruit him. He did so well driving the loader. I was like, hey, what are you doing for the summer?
You don't need a license yet.
Hey, listen, you only need a license. All is good. We'll get through it.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Something comes up, let me know.
Absolutely. All right. Doesn't look like we have anyone here for public comment. We got some minutes to approve, Beth?
That you were going ahead.
We've got 2 to do. Once you're ready, we can make a motion once you're ready. we have to do these one at a time, Beth? We do, right?
Yes.
So we'll do session 1 first. Look at that. We'll look at that one. Someone wants to make a motion on session 1?
I will make a motion to accept the May 20th, 2024 sealed minutes for session 1
And to keep them sealed.
and to keep them
Sealed. Second.
Second.
Second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Move on to session 2.
So having read it already, I make a motion to accept session 2 of May 2024 and recommend unsealing.
I second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Rick.
And next up, we got the consent agenda. For the consent agenda, we have the accounts payable, no manifest for the week. We'll see that actually tomorrow. We didn't have that tonight. So we have the BOS draft minutes of May 20th, 2024. There were warrants for 3 new Recreation Commission members, Nastasia, T. Schwarman, and M. McCarthy. And we also had 1 secondhand dealer pawnbroker license and 1 application for a veteran's tax credit. So we can get a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, Greg, you're next up on the hit parade.
All right. Dealing with personnel issues, have done some interviews because we do still have openings across the town, which again, Plastow.com, employment opportunities, admin help, highway help, other areas, but certainly, looking, for new employees. Had a water meeting last week. The construction company Earth is, making progress. I believe they said we're down to 6 connections that are left. We had extended out the PFAS grant, but in the past week, we got another property here on Main Street that tested well above the limit. So we're scrambling with the engineer to see if there's something that we can do before the money runs out. I think they tested between a 17 and a 24 with a limit of 12, and especially with the changing to 4, they're well above. Got word that the Mount Misery Trail is substantially complete at this point.
It's finished.
Yes.
It's, except for a couple of minor signage and things of that nature, it is complete, which is a good thing, long time in coming.
Tell me about it.
The cruiser that the board approved, it did sell at the state auction for $4,200. So the town has received the net of $3,800 into the general fund. And been busy with another month end of May. In your packet is the budget operating summary. It's gone out to, as you know, all the board members, the budget committee, and will be posted on the website and all department heads. So, we're back we're 5 months into it, looking at and tracking, carefully with what's going on. So,
That's it?
that's it. Leave it at that.
All right, thank you. All right, Selectmen's reports. Liz?
I helped to set up for the senior health fair. Thank you to Fish and Game and to Mr. Gifford for getting that coordinated for us. I attended the Memorial Day celebration at the Pollard Square Green, Town Green. And I attended an event at the library on Friday to honor two employees who have been employed with the library for 2 years, and congratulations to them. And Thursday evening, I believe there's a Conservation Commission meeting at 7 o'clock here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you already got two of mine today. The Old Home Day Committee, which I sit on, obviously, everyone's aware of what's going on with that, as well as the Historical Society. Erica was here taking care of that. There was a new add-on to the Historical Society, though. One of our scouts did their Eagle project, and Allie's trash receptacle that was her, will be one of the first females in the Plastow Scout group to get her Eagle. So, good for you, Allie. When it comes to rec, as you know, we just appointed 3 more people to the board there. It was getting mighty slim. Sure. It was tough to get a meeting together, so that's going on. Greg already covered the other side of the rec, which is the new trail. And obviously, all of the ball fields are up and running and everything's going well. I'm sure you can answer to that and attest to that better than myself.
And actually, if you want to see ball games, it's playoffs start this week.
Great.
So they'll be full up there, softball and baseball. So if you like baseball, free night out.
Nothing like a free game.
See the kids. Something about Little League Baseball. It's nice. You enjoy it. You see the enjoyment in the kids.
Absolutely. That covers me.
Didn't have much because we had the holiday mixed in there. Yesterday, I was out at the park and it was great to see we had a lot of volunteers out there on the playground area. Spread 40 yards of mulch. Thank God you had James Delaney was there to help. You had, don't forget names. Alan Davis was there. You had Tyler Scorman was there. The families were there as well. So we had little kids even helping with wheelbarrows. So it was good to see. We got everything done quick. As they say, many hands make light work. That was really all I had. I think this week, I think a planning board meeting this week. I think that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think there's an energy meeting.
There is an energy meeting
at
this
5
week.
o'clock on Wednesday.
So you and I will both be attending that.
Yeah, we will.
And anybody have anything else?
Nope.
There's no non-public tonight? No. So I guess with that, we will close the meeting at 7:44. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.